being present and findable online, not going viral. We're not talking about virality here. We're not trying to be influencers. We're just savvy business owners who see the opportunity online. So with that, I'm going to let Brock share a little bit about his experience being findable online, and then we're going to get into how the algorithm has changed and how we can get ahead before other people figure this stuff out.
Well, thank you, Courtney. Courtney is the guru. She is the creativity and content GOAT. She's my guru. She's the one holding my hand through exploring this new world of content creation. As a business guy, I've built multiple companies offline. And the reality is, I've said for a long time that to make money, you really only need two things. You need something to sell and someone to sell it to. Fundamentally, that's kind of obvious. And all of my businesses offline, we did things 10, 15 years ago, Google AdWords and SEO optimization, that kind of stuff, which I think is still kind of around. But I did not realize, I never thought about the reality of today, how Daniel Priestley says that personal brands scale faster than business brands. I've built all business brands in the retail space, in the auto industry, and construction, and I can go on and on and on. But in each of those businesses, we had to find a way to put what we had to offer in front of people who needed our solution, right? So again, something to sell, people to sell it to. Fast forward to today, many of us who have great things to offer don't realize that these free platforms serve a multitude of, I guess, opportunities for us. And I've learned from Courtney that what I once needed Google to do for me with Google AdWords, people search for a solution. People are now using things like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube as a search engine to find what they want. For instance, one of our businesses is my wife and I run an employment law firm. We deal largely with federal legislation. And a lot of people have to go to the Equal Opportunity Employment Commission, EEOC. I never heard the EEOC until I met my wife. I had no idea what it existed. And people are searching for how to file EEOC claim. So it makes sense to me now that if we deal with EEOC cases, we should be available as a resource when people search for EEOC information. So now we're working on content so that our law firm or our wisdom as attorneys is found by the people searching for our solutions. So it's fascinating to me that a low barrier of entry, free platform without spending money on ads can possibly locate my customers for me simply because I gave them content they can use to hold their attention online. And to Courtney's point, she's great at the idea of captivate, like how to capture and captivate attention. Because I had a mentor tell me a long time ago, if they don't know you, they can't flow you, right? So we have to be able to be findable by the people who are seeking our solution so they can know that we exist as an opportunity to solve the problem they're looking for to solve. I hope that makes sense. And Courtney has been instrumental in helping me restructure my brain towards the value of a personal brand, or as I call it, personality and partnership. How we can add our personalities, have fun, be ourselves, but be captivating, capture their attention. And then my expertise comes in. I'm good at helping the be persuasive, right? Because once we have the attention, then we have to move the attention. And Courtney is excellent at helping, she called experts, people like you and I who have a thing to offer, who's good at what we do. People need to know we have a solution. She's great at helping us create content that captures their attention, but then we as a professional have to figure out how to take that attention and direct it where we want it. I hope that makes sense. Courtney?
Yes. So that's exactly it. And now we're going to go over the algorithm, what has changed, and how we can get ahead in this marketplace. So I'm going to share my screen so that we can do a little bit of a drawing here. So let me get my little draw board ready for us. Let me unshare this. But basically, the marketplace has changed. Social media used to be a place for influencers. Social media, and as you think of an influencer, you think of somebody sharing their daily life. You think of somebody like showing their coffee orders and all of these really random things that are not how people consume
Silly
social media
things.
today. Very silly things. And as a business owner, as somebody who wants to build a personal brand to receive opportunities, whether that's opportunities for jobs, opportunities for products, and anything that your mind can imagine, opportunities come when you become findable. So how do we become findable? Well, the first thing that you have to do is create a story around who you are, what you do, and why people need to follow you. So just think the who, very basic, but this is the foundation of why you follow certain people. So the who, what you're about, and why they need to follow you. Now, a lot of people will go into something, and this is a great reading resource for you, is The Hero's Two Journeys. It's a great book to figure out how to create these stories. So I'm going to give you an example of this. Now, you might see a person say, "Oh, I 3 tips to reduce your taxes this year." That's a good start, but would you be more interested if the person said, "I just got Lucy a $16,000 refund this year because of these 3 tax laws"? There's a story connected to the value that that tax person is giving. It makes the boring tax content actually interesting because of the story. And stories, oftentimes we think that, okay, well, I have to go into this 10-minute monologue about every single detail. And that's where a lot of people get confused in this content. So you have to look at each platform. The average video is about 30 to 60 seconds, right? And so if you think of a movie is about what, like 2 hours long? That's more than double, more than triple the amount of time. So when you look at that, every movie, and this is how you have to think of content. Every movie tells a story. It sets up a character, it puts them on their hero's journey. You get to know who that character is. You then watch them go on a journey. This goes for every single movie. You watch them go on a journey. There is a climax point, a descent, and a resolution. It is the same exact thing in your content online, but condensed like this. So to give you an example, a lot of people on Instagram do these very well. They do a carousel, which is just maybe 4 or 5 photos with text on the screen. And they'll set up the character and they'll say something like, "I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I also own a $50 million business." Now, if this was a movie, they would have set that up for probably like a good 30 minutes of the movie of you seeing them being a mom and seeing them being a business owner. But because it's short form content, you get that in one photo. Then we're on the descent. They might say, "I wasn't always like this. This is what I did to get there." So she shows you the climb on that one photo. Then there's the climax. "Then one day I hit my first million, blah, blah, blah." And she shares how she hit her first million. Then the fourth photo is maybe a photo of like her children at the beach. And then she goes, "Now this is the life that I get to live because I can have both worlds." And then she says on the fifth photo, "And you can have it too. DM me," and this is the important part for sales and not being an influencer, "DM me business and I will send you my business blueprint." So she set herself up as a hero, but also a guide to get you to the same place that she is. She did this in 5 photos that if you flipped through them, it probably would have taken you 30 seconds or less to flip through. She gave you a mini movie in a matter of 30 seconds. That's what we're trying to accomplish here. And let me just make sure that nobody else is trying to be admitted. I think so at the moment. Okay. But that is what we're trying to do here. So it is about the story. And the biggest thing that a lot of people do in a lot of their content work is they talk about one specific platform. They say, "This is the stuff you have to do for YouTube. This is the stuff that you have to do for TikTok. This is stuff you have to do for Instagram." But when you actually master the storytelling arc it can go multi-channel platform. You can do this on LinkedIn. You can do this on whatever new platform that is to come. Because honestly, it's 2026. AI is big. Soon we're going to be wearing Google glasses. It's going to be a whole new platform. We don't know what it's going to be like, but what we do know is the influencer era is out and the real people influencer era is in. Now, I'm going to erase this and tell you a little bit about what that means. So, everybody here is a unique person, a unique soul, and we all have value to bring. We all are inherently valuable. And the hard work that it takes is to reflect and figure out, okay, what value do I bring? What things do people usually want from me? I have a friend who she's really good at crafts. Okay, so she makes these like cute little like butterfly Dollar Tree crafts. She makes decorations for the holidays. And she was also a physician's assistant making quite a lot of money. However, she had a unique interest in crafts for her kids when she became a mom. She only had maybe 50,000 followers, but that income of her creating value for other people replaced and then some her physician's assistant salary to the point that it did not make sense for her to even work her old job. That's like the type of income I'm talking about on here. And I'm not saying you have to switch careers or switch motives, but what I'm saying is that there is a niche, unique market for literally any value that you can bring to others. You test this by doing your content, seeing what people want. You know, whether you're in finance, whether you're in marketing, there is a uber niche market that only wants to follow you. And there's a million other people teaching. I would say at least a million. Okay, I don't know, maybe there's less, but I would say there's at least a million people teaching these butterfly crafts. But the reason she got a small pie of that market is because they fell in love with her and her hero's journey and who she is. She specifically is showing people budget-friendly crafts. She's not showing crafts that are taking 2 hours to make, but some people want the 2 hour crafts to make. It's really figuring out, okay, what do people constantly come to me for? And in your business, it's the same thing. You might have 10 different services that you can offer, as like even in the legal world. Like you might be able to offer consulting, contract, whatever it is, but focusing and narrowing down on what's the thing that people primarily come to you for and what can I do to show people that thing online in a very repetitive cycle. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the algorithm and how it is working today. It is different. It used to be that you needed, and put it in the chat, like, what do you think gets people to see your content? Let me see too. I'm trying to admit some people in. What do you think in the chat? Write down gets people to view your content. Followers. Yeah. Friends, followers and friends. Likes. Yes. All of that. And that is true. And it still is true, but now there is also a new thing that is getting people to your content. And that is interest. I'm going to spell it hopefully right. Interest, okay? The follower era is basically out. You don't need a ton of people anymore to make money online at all, actually. You could have a couple thousand followers and be making millions of dollars, and that's very true. You don't need an infinite amount of followers, okay? You don't need them. You need a community. We'll do a different color for this. You need a community of people who are loyal and want to be connected to the community and you. And you don't need a lot. You just need a couple, okay? that want this connection point and that are your ride or die people. That's all you need. You need people who want to, and the goal is to like, know, and trust you. That's all you need. Influencers need the likes, they need the followers because their intention is to get brand deals. But even with the brand deals, you don't like, we're not influencers. We're not looking for brand deals. So we don't need a huge following. We just need a few people who want what we offer. So the algorithm has changed because the behavior on social media has changed thanks to TikTok. The younger generation, they go on TikTok, and I actually do this too. I will go and instead of like looking on a blog for a recipe and then hoping that it's good, I go search for the recipe on TikTok. I watch somebody do it so that I know that this recipe is actually good. I do this for everything. If I want to learn something on like car maintenance or whatever it is, I go search on TikTok. So it is search engine optimized. And Instagram is moving to this. They haven't fully moved to this yet. And that's why you are going to be winning, because you're going to be optimizing your content before all the influencers catch on. But all SEO just means is when somebody puts something into the search, your content has those same keywords or same phrases. And because of that, your video gets put at the top because it's the most likely to match what they're looking for. So this is why we have to be uber specific. So instead of just saying like, I'm going to make a banana bread, I'm going to make a double chocolate chip banana bread. So if somebody searches double chocolate chip banana bread, I'm going to be the person. If I'm in finance and I'm looking for a Christian financial coach, I'm going to make sure that I have the keywords Christian financial coach in all of my content. But you don't have to guess. Like, this is the thing. You do not have to guess. So I'm going to can you still see my screen? I'm going to go to TikTok. You can still see my screen. Okay. When I go, this is the hack that you get to use. I'm going to press agree. When you go to press search, you type in a keyword, whatever keyword it is. And let's say it's dog. I don't know, because there's a dog right there. Oh gosh, I gotta log in. Hold on. Continue with Google. But hold on, please. Okay, we'll do this one. I thought I was logged in, but I guess I'm not. Okay. So when you go and press search, oh my goodness, let's see this thing. I'm going to show you on my phone because it's being kind of silly. All right, so you log on to TikTok, and if you have TikTok, pull it up yourself, and I'll show you on my screen here. So you go to the search button and you type it, you search the word dog, okay? So you see dog. Now you see all
Main
these,
screen. You're
oh,
still showing your
oh,
screen.
okay, let me get to my main screen. Okay, so I typed in the word dog. Now, do you see all of these searches that are coming up that are relevant to dog? It says dogs of TikTok, dog funny videos, dog grooming vacuum, dog dancing AI, dog toys. Whatever word it is, put a word in. It's going to give you like 10 suggestions. Those suggestions are what people have actually put in, multiple people have put in the search bar. And for your advantage, you can now make videos on this, but not just make videos. Make sure these exact phrases are somehow in your captions. And another pro tip that you can do is you can write all of these search terms and slide them off screen. They're not in your video, but the algorithm is going to see that you have text in the video, even though it's off screen. And this is the very secret pro tip. You slide them off screen, and when you're editing, and they will still get flagged for when people are searching your videos. So that way you can put multiple SEO keywords in. This is like the secret hack that you can do. And it can be anything. Like if you type in, like we just went with banana bread, right? So I just started typing in banana bread, and it already is banana bread recipe, banana bread latte, banana protein muffin. So if I'm a, let's say, wellness coach, if I see that people are typing in banana protein muffins, I'm sure as heck gonna make a video on banana protein muffins so that they can get to my video. So it gives you, one, content ideas, and it also, two, tells you exactly what your ideal client is searching for in the moment. Um, Another one is through, if you type in the search, and I have said this to some people on here, but the creator search insights. So you're going to type in TikTok, creator search insights, and it will have this little button that is like a little light bulb. They want you to create good content. The algorithm doesn't hate you. They love you. They want you to create good content. But because people, this is an interest-based search engine, they're going to tell you right here, the content gap. They're going to tell you the content gap specifically tailored to the content you already make. And they're going to tell you what people are exactly searching for. So on my content gap that it thinks that I could create a video, it says, one day you're going to wake up and realize there's a 682,000 people searching this type of trend. Young entrepreneur business. I'm sure as heck going to have young entrepreneur business in my next video. Day in the life of an entrepreneur. So these are things that people are really searching for. And so you can tailor your content towards what people are searching for and then show them how your offer is connected to what they are searching for. This is the streamlined way to make it a sales engine. This way, you don't have to worry about followers. Like even Gary Vee said, he's got millions of followers on his old accounts when followers mattered. He said his new account only has like 4,000 followers, but it's still making him a lot of money because he knows this, that it's all about the interest base. It has nothing to do with followers or likes or shares or anything like that. It has to do with the search engine optimization and your retention rate. Your retention rate, which I'll share here on the screen, is super easy to get. Okay, so we just talked about stories. So you need SEO optimized content and you need retention rate. Retention rate just means what is the percentage of people that watched your video all the way through. Now, this is why you see so many people on Instagram doing like 8-second videos. It's because they're trying to up their retention rates. It's why they put everything in the captions, because on Instagram specifically, their algorithm is not smart enough yet to see between these like hacks that these influencers are doing. That's why they do it. On TikTok, they're smart enough. They know if you're doing an 8-second video, you're trying to build your retention rate, and they're actually going to like basically knock you down a little bit because they know what you're doing. Instagram, they don't care if it's keeping you on the app. So these little nuances, though, they really don't matter. What matters is the principles, is that this is now a search engine optimized platform. Instagram, Facebook, they're all moving to this. And the retention rate is what matters. The retention rate is going to be nuanced on each platform, where like Instagram do short videos. On TikTok, I would say stick to a 30-second to 60-second video. If though, now here's the thing, it takes practice. If you can't hold an attention rate, do not post a 2-minute video because you're just going to get no views. And if you, so you build up to it. Start with a 30-second video, start with a 20-second video, and get your story arc and your message put into that in 20 seconds, 30 seconds. And as you get better at building your retention line, then you can move on to longer videos. But you don't have to, too. You can just stay at that area too, because again, these are like short form videos. Some people have mastered long form. Some people can have a 10-minute long video, but they have mastered that art of captivating and holding attention. And that's something you want to work up to, but it's not the immediate goal. The immediate goal for business owners, entrepreneurs, and people trying to create sales through their content is to one, be interest-based with SEO, and then have the retention rate. Once you master that, then yes, let's graduate. Now, oh, that's the wrong color. Doesn't really matter though. Now, because we don't want these fake followers, we don't want just a bunch of followers to follow, because I also want you to think about it this way. As a business owner, if you had 1 million followers and 1% converted from that million, how many would that be? I'm not great at math. So what is that, like 100,000 or something? Can your back end seriously take on 100,000? Is that the right number? I don't even know. Let me see. 1% of 1 million. Let's see. 10,000. Okay. Can your back end actually handle 10,000 people? If the
Without
answer
breaking
is, what'd you say?
Not without breaking it.
Not without breaking it. So their goal is not to get 1 million followers, because you don't want to serve 10,000 people. That's ridiculous. You want to serve the people that you want to serve. If you're in high ticket, that's maybe like 80 people. So like, let's do the math. 80 people, okay, 1%, what would 1% of like 80 be? I guess that would be, oh my gosh. See, I'm not good at math. That's not my thing.
It's not even one, because 10% of 80 is 8.
8. Okay, yeah.
10% of 8 is less than 1.
Yeah, right? Okay, so that's as many people as you really need, because the 1% conversion rate, that's all you need. You don't have to think of it so much as like getting these followers, getting these people. You just want to get the right people in your ecosystem. And the way to get these right people in your ecosystem is talking about what they're interested in. If I'm a financial coach, I am going to be interested, my clients are going to be interested in knowing how they can take not one, but maybe 2 vacations a year. If they're like a higher ticket type of client, they want to know how they can take 2 vacations a year. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to look at what they're searching. If they want to figure out how to not worry about a budget every single day, I'm going to talk about that. If I am a relationship coach, or I'm teaching something on relationships, I am going to talk about the common problems that are found in relationships. I'm going to make skits. You see these all the time. People are making these skits where there's this one guy named Jimmy, and he teaches like people how to recover from infidelity. What he does is he wears a wig and he plays skits of real conversations that him and his wife had during their infidelity time. And then he goes in and tells people what to do. And he gives no call to action, because he has mastered this so well that all this guy needs is a link in his bio, because people want more. The goal is you naturally want them eventually to just want more and more and more of you. That's the goal. And I want to give you like a little bit of encouragement too. So I have built other people's brands. I've gotten people millions of views on TikTok. I've gotten people the 27 times ROA. We do that. But for myself, I am just like you. I'm starting my brand from scratch. And it is really hard to see yourself, because you can't view yourself without a mirror. Mirrors are mentors. And if you don't have that mirror, it's very, very hard to understand your content, especially if they're not directly working on that. So I have had the same challenges, but I can tell you with my mirror, like when I first started on TikTok, I had maybe 100 followers. I already had somebody from the global head of AI at Crocs, who started a new company, wanting to have a meeting with me, because I created an interest focused video on my beliefs of AI, that I believe that AI can teach you AI and that you don't need technical skills. He aligned in that because he's not a tech guy either. And we got to have a conversation offline. Now, how did that happen? That happened because I put my email right in my bio. This is another hack. So this is really, really important. You can't just make content. Like if you're not trying to be an influencer, you're trying to like make sales, you have to have a funnel. So for this content, I put my email in the bio so that these professionals could email me. I put my website in the bio so that they can book a call with me. And if I'm doing an offer that week, I'm sure as heck going to have that link to that offer for that week in my bio. This is how they get directly to you because you're not forcing the sale at this point. They just want, again, more of you, and they're going to seek it out from your bio. They're going to look, okay, what's this person's offer? Okay, I actually want to talk to them a little bit more on this subject. So this is beautiful because you get to focus on the things that you're interested in, and you can be a little bit, I say a little bit very generously, a little bit multi-passionate in this area. Still, though, connecting to that target audience, but you can talk about different things that are interest-based to that target audience. So for me, I do get to talk about AI because business owners and entrepreneurs are a little bit interested in AI. I also get to talk about the Fibonacci sequence and because they're a little bit interested in that. But I'm also keeping in mind who's my target audience and what do they really, really desire. And then you get to see which videos do well. But knowing that, like, even with a couple hundred followers, you can still get a couple thousand views because it's not based on your follower count. It's based on who you are, and it's based on that retention line. So how the algorithm works, and I'll show you this too. Here we go, admit. So how the algorithm works is there are like stages in here, okay? So there's stage 1, there's stage 2, stage 3, and then here's the viral point, right? This is where everybody's trying to chase, which if you're a business owner, it's not worth it, okay? Unless you can handle the back end. But this is something you want to do later. But at stage 1, this is where you get like 0 to 300 views. So when you are below 300 views, this means that your content is not getting enough watch time or engagement to move to the next level. So this might mean you maybe get 1 like, you maybe get 1 save, and maybe people are only watching 3 to 5 seconds of your video and they're moving on, right? And so this is why that retention rate is so long because, again, user behavior in today's world, even on TikTok, is people aren't actually following people anymore. People, like, if you think about the way that you interact, how often are you just scrolling versus like, it takes energy for people to actually like the video. It takes energy for somebody to stop their scroll and press share. It has to be a wow video. And I'll even tell you, I had a video on my random mom talk. It's not my business account. I had a video that had more shares, more saves, more comments than a video that had 1 million views. My video only had 100,000 views. And the one difference between the 1 million viewed video and my 100,000 video that had more likes, more shares than the viral video was the watch time. Because more people watched that video longer than the 100,000 viewed video. So that tells you that literally engagement is not what they're going for. They're going for watch time because they want you on the app. If they scroll past the video and they scroll past, like, think about it this way. You go on your app and you start watching videos and you scroll past 5 of them and then you're not really interested because your algorithm's a little bit off that day. You're going to get off the platform. You're not going to stay on. So they reward creators who can keep people on the platform. After 3 videos of not being interested, you're off the platform. So that's why the watch time is so important. So now say you get a good watch time and you get up to over here and maybe we're at like 1,000. We're at 1,000 to, I think maybe it's 5,000 views is the next I'm pretty sure it's 5,000. I gotta look back at that, but I'm pretty sure it's 1,000 to 5,000 views. This is that second level. This is the level that gets you to semi-viral to viral. Like this means your content's good. That's really what it means, that it is good content. I'm happy when my video gets to this level because if you think about what you're teaching, if it's something so niche, like I don't expect a lot of people to watch the same viral video. Like, and at the same time too, when you have to think about what viral means, it means that like the majority of the people who are seeing it are interested in it. This is like over like I would say over like nowadays, I would say over like 2 million views, okay? Um, this is basically everything, and there's probably another tier in here, but it just keeps going. But like the 5,000 to, let's maybe say 100,000. This means your video is extremely, extremely good. But really your goal, like I'm saying, again, is to not live really anywhere but here and here. Like anything above 100,000 when you're a business owner, it's not necessary unless you just have to look at the income that you're wanting and reverse engineer it. Like if you're trying to make 500,000 a year, you don't really need to be getting more than 100,000 views per video because they compound too. Like if you're getting 100,000 views every single time, that's still 500,000 views, and that is going to convert into the 500,000 that you want for like a high ticket. But even still, this 1,000 to 5,000, you're gonna get your loyal fan base through this viewership because it's interest based. Now, what do I mean by interest based? This is where you have to be so, so, so clear on who your audience is. So here's an example. I'm a mom, right? I'm a mom who is a business owner. And if I'm trying to get to other moms who are business owners, what are they interested in? Well, they're interested in kid stuff, right? They're interested in that stuff. So maybe they're interested in nutrition. Um, and so maybe they're interested in like coffee. They might be interested in coffee because they have little kids and they go to a coffee shop. So what I might do is I might share um a video of me making coffee, and this is where the interest base goes. I might share a video of me making my coffee and sharing a recipe of a look-alike vanilla cream cold brew recipe, but I'm sharing the reason why I'm doing that, which is I'm investing all my money back into my business. And so I'm sharing a valuable tip to them is that a lot of people don't realize the first 2 years of a business, you're not really profiting a lot. You're investing it all back into the business to grow it, you know? Like even I saw somebody talk because you're investing it into the ads. Like once you start getting clients, you're investing it into ads, you're investing it into all this stuff, right? And so I might share that, okay, well, I quit my Starbucks order and I'm, making this vanilla latte at home because I'm doing this. I'm providing them real value in business, but I'm also giving them, again, an interest that they might have been looking at that day. They might have been looking at coffee, and now they know who I am more. They know that we like the same coffee order, and they know that we have the same values because of what I'm doing at home. So so this is where you get to be creative. And this is why this is why I am so, so into TikTok, okay? The reason I am into TikTok is because most of you have a belief that nobody's on TikTok. That is the belief that most people have. Nobody's on TikTok. It's just all these like little kids on TikTok. It's further from the truth, but in your mind, that's what you believe is that nobody you know is going to see you on TikTok. And when you believe that nobody you know is going to see your videos, you unlock your true self. And this is what we really want to get to is who are you? Like who is Feluke? Who is Megan? Who is Brock? Who is Barb? Who are you? When you feel like there's some pressure to perform, which there 100% is pressure to perform on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, where all of your professional connections are, you're going to filter yourself. You're going to not be as creative. You're going to make content that's not as good as it possibly could be. So on TikTok, You get to test your true self. You get to test, who do I want to be? Like what is interesting about me? You get to figure out your values and you get to play. One thing that Brock and I had talked about a lot um was this in between, because there's two paths. There really are two paths. I'm going to show you here. There's path one and there's path two. On path one, there is a discovery, and you get to pick, but there is a path of discovery, okay? That's the true self. You get to discover, who am I? Your sales funnel is going to take longer, but you get to show up authentic, okay? And you get to have fun, right? Because this is the big thing that a lot of business owners do. They're stressed out by social media, and they hire a social media manager who knows nothing about their business and who knows nothing about them to post really crappy Canva content that nobody wants to watch. This is what almost every single business owner does. But if you can be the one business owner, the founder led, the 1% that enjoy creating content and can have fun with it, you're going to blow everybody out of the water, because your content game is going to be at a whole nother level because you're having fun. Anybody who loves what they're doing is going to outpace somebody who hates what they're doing. So this path might be your path, and that's 100% great. Now there's path two. It's not a bad path, but there is a path two, okay? Path two is somebody picks a format for you. And this is what I did for Dr. Lord to get her 1 million views in 28 days. Now her thing was she wanted to go viral. So we put on the big boy pants, and what we did is we scripted based off of the SEO stuff. We made the hooks. We did all the things that were very required, but she wasn't learning. And this is where the downfall comes in a lot of this stuff. If you aren't having fun, you're not going to learn the stuff, right? And then you're required to have somebody outside of you create this content. And when they go away, or when you don't want to pay for a social media person, all of the work that was going on, it completely drops, right? And you see this a lot too. They're like, well, I really like you say you get a good social media manager. You're like, I really like my social media manager. The moment they're gone, you're left alone. You don't have that content anymore because you weren't having fun and you weren't learning exactly what it took to do all this stuff. But if you go on path one, you discover who you are, you create your own format, and you create all the things that are required, eventually you're going to get to path two. It just takes a little longer, but you still get to path two by having fun. The learning happens through the fun. So it is, you pick your path. Do you want it in 30 days? Or do you want it in maybe, let's say, 6 months, right? Because it takes longer to learn something when you're doing it on your own. So that's really those two paths. And it's based on the individual, really. Like it's not which path is worse or better. Because even still here, if you're learning, if you're having fun doing this stuff, you can still maintain it if you decide to learn, right? So that's why I like TikTok, because it becomes a playground for you to test content, test what you're about, test your messages, test your offers. And then when you feel validated, when you feel like this type of content's good, then you can repurpose it onto all the other platforms. And this is my content system, so everybody knows. I take maybe 20 minutes a week, 20 minutes. Sometimes it takes longer if I'm not like in a creative zone, but I usually wait for that creative spark. And I take 20 minutes to film inside the app, 20 minutes. Okay. That's all I do for filming. I film inside the app and I save them as drafts. Okay. And then on, you know, okay, there we go. You know what it says. It says drafts. I save them as drafts. That's all I do for that day. Then each other day of the week, I go in and I edit inside the app. This is where the editing comes in. I edit inside the app. And when you learn to tell a good story, you don't need fancy gimmicky editing tricks. You just need very basic editing skills that are done inside the app. You don't need software. You just need your cell phone. That's all you need. And you edit these videos and then you post them. And then it downloads to your phone. So here's your phone. And now it's in your camera roll and you just re-upload the video to LinkedIn. You upload it to Facebook. Well, you upload it to Instagram and then it uploads automatically to Facebook and then YouTube Shorts. And that's in one video. You've gotten now on multi-channels. You're on TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube Shorts. That's 5 platforms. Took you 20 minutes to film, takes you maybe another 20 minutes each day to then go post this one video and then re-upload to these platforms. You don't need a social media manager to do this. If you want to eventually get a VA to then, upload all this stuff, and that's like a thing that you don't want to finish in your day-to-day, that's fine. But knowing this system doesn't have to be that hard. And if you're going to pay a social media manager to do this, they're going to charge you maybe $2,000 to $3,000 if they're really good, probably even more than that, to do this with less good content than you could make by mastering this yourself. So I say all this to just show you that the big takeaway here is that you have incredible value. You can do this, and there are people who want to see your content. They want to know you, and they are ready to buy for you. So I'm going to leave the link in here. If you want this conversation to continue on, we're doing our Create Captivating Content Challenge next week. And for people who showed up live or watched the recording, that will be sent out. Whoever does that and you follow this link for the next 24 hours, this link using the code live will get you a spot VIP for $200 off. So you're going to be paying general admission, but with VIP access. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can go ahead and click on that order form. It's going to be with Brock and I. We're going to be going over not just the content, but actually how to monetize the content and going over everything that we kind of talked about here, but just a little bit more in depth. As you can see, there's a lot to it, and it's not something that you can do in a 60-minute webinar. So if you want to continue on, I've dropped that link in the chat. And other than that, I'll send it via email to everybody who watches the replay. But I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope that you got something out of this. And I really thank you for being here. So have a great rest of your day. Click that link because I am about to go, but $200 off if you watch the replay. Thank you.